Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my studio, Stampin' Turtles. Today, I was feeling really under the weather. Yesterday, had to cancel my class on sunflowers, so this will be helpful if you're planning to come to watch today. But I am not feeling super great still. I um, had to stay up late because my husband fishing, and I just don't go to bed usually when he's out fishing. But anyway, so I'm tired today, but no makeup. This is me, real me, pajamas. You know, this is proof you can do anything you want. This is your life. So if you want to stay in your pajamas all day and not put makeup on, this is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. All right, let's see if I can show you guys today what we will be painting. So I have some sunflowers that the one on the left is actually a stock photo from the internet. The one on the right is my own hand-picked sunflowers. There's a place right around the corner from my house. It is called Sermon Farms, and they have usually a fundraiser where they plant sunflowers in a design on their field, and you can see it from a drone or a plane or whatever, but they have a little box for you to put donations in, and it's usually for a good cause. And you can go pick the sunflowers to take home. And so I went over there and picked some flowers. I don't know when they do that. Usually it's in the fall, I think. If someone knows, please let me know in the chat. Hopefully my voice isn't going to sound too bleh today. I'm like, yeah, it can be, right? I am going to show you my desk because what do we normally do? We show you what I'm drinking. Let me see if I can change my little light. Can you see that? It's hard to see. I don't know. This is called Clipper main squeeze herbal tea, and it is lemon. The reason I'm doing lemon is for my voice, and I'm drinking it out of this beautiful little mug that my daughter got from World Market. They're cute and they just fit nice in the hand. So yes, there is honey in there. You know me and my raw coastal comb bee company, raw honey, Fairhope, Alabama. Y'all need to buy that honey because local honey helps with allergies. So if you have allergies, you need to drink the honey. So I'm going to give this a good stir just because I think my honey's at the bottom. And I need to have it everywhere, actually. I need it everywhere. So I'm going to take a sip and see what's going to help with the voice. Absolutely delicious. Delicious. So, as you know, I like to look at a reference photo when I'm painting. I usually put it on my phone, just so I can see it. I'm going to open my paints, and if you're following along, please do not think you have to have expensive paints, brushes, or paper. To be a beginner, all you need is a little $10 set of this, like 24 different colors. I use the lid to paint in. Sometimes brand new lids are hard to mix in because they're just brand new and they're slick. They don't have any, it's almost like cast iron. If you cook in a brand new cast iron without seasoning it, it's going to be not so great. But as you use your cast iron, it will get a nice coating that will protect it and keep it from sticking the food all over it. Same with this. As you use your lid to mix your paint colors, it will begin to be seasoned, and then your paints won't bead up like water on a duck's back. So but at first it will be a little frustrating, just because that's how the nature of the beast is. So let us look at this again. If you guys want to look at the reference photo, take a screenshot, put it on your phone so you can draw it. That's always a good option. Then you don't have to rely on your memory Sometimes that's what I do. I will tell you, today, look what I did. I got new water. It's so clean. I don't even know what to do with myself. I can see the bottom. I can see through it. It's totally clean. Um, let's see. We're gonna do quick drawings on these little pieces. These are just little tinies. Little tinies. They're very super tiny. They're like, this is what we're making, okay? We're making little bookmarks. We're making, this might be a little bit too close up. I don't know. Maybe I'll zoom out just a little bit because that is very close up. We'll do that maybe at a next stage. But I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope that this Monday won't be too Monday-ish for ya. We are still in the middle of summer. It's nice and warm. Maybe enjoy being by the pool, but it's going to be storming soon, y'all. It's going to be a tropical storm, hopefully not a hurricane. It's brewing out there right now. People are saying it may or may not become a hurricane. Who knows? We don't know. We sit here and wait, right? Yeah, that is some good tea. Whatever this tea is, I'm gonna put it right there. If you guys want to see it. See that tea? This is Main Squeeze Herbal Tea. I don't know. Clipper? Natural, fair, and delicious. Sure, it's natural and fair. We all should have such great tea, right? Such great tea. Okay, so I am going to not sketch too much because we do not sketch when we do loose. But I'm going to look at my picture that I have in front of me, and I'm going to do the vase one on here. And when I say loose, I mean like, y'all do not try and make this like super duper exact, okay? This is not supposed to be exact. There's a little vase. I mean, really, everything can be, this almost reminds me of Van Gogh. This can be very loose to the point where you don't even see your pencil lines as much as you think you need to see them. Then this, I'm going to do this one. And I'm going to make my circle almost to the edge. And I'm not going to do any petals except for maybe to differentiate where I want them to go off of the page. Maybe just like somewhat, maybe a couple. But I'm not really trying to do anything here except get a very light sketch. You can't even see my sketches. I'm so sorry, but that is the nature of the beast when I don't want to press hard. I could press hard and then you could see it. But seriously, just enjoy the process of making something, okay? Just, you don't even have to make anything too detailed is what I'm saying. This is loose, loosey-goosey. So let's do a couple circles. That's going to be a bookmark. I don't even know if that's where I want all them. This will be another bookmark. It looks nice when you have a couple that are going off of the edge, okay? That makes a nice aesthetic, okay? Very nice. And we might put one up there. So these are very different. And I've just done circles. Basically, the bookmarks are just circles. This one I did add a couple petals, and this one I made the base. So what are we going to do with them at the end? We're going to make cards. We're going to leave some as bookmarks and maybe some ephemera for a journal if you guys are into journaling. Let me know where you guys are from. If you're enjoying this video, give a like. And if you haven't subscribed, you know, great to do so now because, you know, it's never too late to subscribe to someone's channel. I am going to start with I I may start with this one, which you know is like a 12 round, or I may do my 8 round. I like to start with bigger brushes just to cover more ground. When you're doing loose watercolor, let me show you the difference between. Okay. Reese! Shh! Reese! Shh! Here's a piece of paper I'm going to show you real quick, not on my sketches, what I'm talking about. And if you want to spray your paints right now, you could use a spray bottle of water. Hey, Janice, so glad you could come. Yes, from Daphne. We are the Daphne crew. The Daphne crew. I'm going to show the difference between why I use the largest paintbrush that I can while painting loosely, because you'll see. You'll just see. All right, so I'm going to wet some of my orange ones. Okay, this is why I want you guys to kind of try and do this with larger brushes if you can. Some people don't own a larger brush, you just have these little tiny ones that come with your kit. I would say invest in larger ones, just because you'll enjoy making some loose watercolors. Okay, so this is my first one. After you spray your water on your paints, let it sit for like 10-15 seconds and it'll start to absorb in. And then you can get some paint on your brush. So I'm going to show you real quick on here. I'm going to go, it's really not that dark. Yeah, it's a little darker. So see those brush strokes? Those are really cool. I do have a new paper towel somewhere. This is a size 8. See that? It's smaller, but it's still doable. We got that. Now let's see what, you probably have ones that came in your brush. So you see how skinny and long those are, and they're not as nice. And what if we wanted to make the same size, but this is the only brush we have? Then you could turn it sideways, but then you're still kind of doubling up. You see what I'm saying? You're like making more strokes. And the more strokes you got to make, sometimes the more issues you have. It's not that you can't use it, it's just that it will be longer process and you can have more streakiness. Hey Debbie, you're over in Mobile, Alabama. That is right. You stay safe over there, girl. I don't know when this hurricane's supposed to hit, but it could hit any minute, right? I don't know. It's on its way. So let's do the big one that I sketched. And if you haven't sketched it yet, just draw a circle on some watercolor paper. That's all we need. A little circle in watercolor paper. Now some people will wet and do wet and dry, wet and wet technique. So we could do the center with wet and wet. And sometimes people like this brown color and just drop it in. It's burnt umber. I do like burnt umber. So see that? We got a really pale burnt umber because lots of water because it was wet and wet. So sometimes when you do wet and wet, it's like, okay. Let me see if I can just zoom in on that just a little bit. So I have this and it's still really, really wet. What I can do is take some burnt sienna, which is like a more orangey red, reddish brown. Sometimes it likes to not do what I want. Ooh, see that? Doesn't that look kind of fun? We're sticking with that loosey-goosey. And you can just make little dots here and there and just let it spread. Don't fiddle. No fiddling. That's what loose is all about. And you can rinse your brush off and dry it. So now that this is really wet, I can see it's super wet. Let's mix up some colors on our palette. I can zoom in on just the watercolor paints. That would be great, right? Okay, so I've got a bunch of different colors of red, orange red, just orange, yellow orange, yellow ochre, cad yellow, lemon yellow. There's a bunch of different colors here. Debbie's giving me some emojis. So if you have different colors like these in your kit, your watercolor, get them all nice and wet. I just take drops of my water and put on top, and it starts to hydrate them. They need hydration, just like humans. We need hydration. We can even let these red ones get a little hydration. But right now I'm focusing on these colors, which are really quite vibrant. I'm going to mix, I can mix it over here if I want and do a custom color. Like let's say this is like a yellow orange color. So now I'm going to go over here and I'm using my largest brush, my largest one, okay? And I just got a little bit of that lemon, not lemon yellow, yellow orange. So I'm just going to touch and press out. Touch. Leave some white space, you guys. Don't try and cover everything all at once. And if you have to, you can turn your paper if it's easier. Some people can paint upside down or whatever. I find it's just easier to do it like this. And see how I did touch in there and it's kind of bleeding into the orange, the yellow orange colors? Now, do I want to go all the way to the edge? I don't know. Did I already mess up? I don't know. We'll see. So see, I'm just going all the way around. But because I used that nice large brush, I covered that in less than a minute, y'all. Less than a minute. And so now we want to kind of look at our palette again. What do we want to do to make this look even better? We may want to add a little bit of that darker orange. So this is just pure cadmium orange or whatever your orange color is in your palette. I'm going to just touch it right here. If it's still wet, it will flow. If it's not still wet, it will be sad and not flow. But I like touching it here, and if it's not wet enough, usually people spray it with a water bottle, and you can push it out to wherever you want it. You might be like, well, you just did that yellow, why are you covering it? Sometimes it's fun to do that, to go over it and just be like, what's it gonna do? You can go in a smaller brush if you want to do a little bit of streakiness in there. But I am going to dip my brush in water and just see what happens when I dip it in the water. See how it's just kind of blending and bleeding. This is what we call the loose watercolor, okay? Almost looks like a sun, but don't worry, we're gonna be okay. Now I will go to my size 8. I think this is an 8. I'm going to rinse it so it's nice and clean and dry it. This is a technique that a lot of people don't show, but you can lift. Rinse, dry, and you can lift. Just keep wiping it on your paper towel. So like, let's say you didn't like all that dark orange, you liked it more yellow. Dry on your brush and lift. Rinse it, dry it, lift. And if we mess up the center, it's okay. We can go back. We can go back. But see how I like that? That look is more organic and loose. It's not detailed. Like I just threw some paint on, removed some paint, and now I'm just letting it dry. So our center does need to get darker. A lot of times people think making a color darker is by using black. I like to use different colors mixed together. So like if you have some of this brown, it's like I have some purples over here. You can mix purple into it. You can mix red into it. You can mix some green into it. What happens if you mix some red and green and brown? What does that make? Kind of want to design my own color that I would be able to sell to people so they don't have to mix. But this is going to be a nice dark color, and it's got some pretty and this is still super wet in the center, right? We can go all the way to that edge. I kind of like how the orange went in there. Now, if you have Payne's Gray, I like Payne's Gray. That's basically adding blue and burnt sienna to your colors. But here's what we're going to see up close. So I'm going to do the center really dark. And I'm just letting those little dots go around in a circle. If there's some spacing between the dots, they're still filling out. It's okay. But this is going to be, like I said, a very loose watercolor sunflower. This is going to be something you can put on the front of a card and add some designer paper behind it and a sentiment like happy birthday, and you can send this off to someone. It would be great just as it is even, but we're going to keep going a little bit. I'm going to dip my brush completely now in that Payne's Gray, and I like to just add some dots here and there with that Payne's Gray. And I know someone is calling me, but I do not want to talk right now. Do not want to talk. Sorry. I'm not going to add any more. Okay, this is it for the Payne's Gray and that little center. Now I'm going to rinse my brush off completely and dry it. Why? Because we don't want to overdo that center. We want to let it just relax and enjoy itself. Like spread out, do its thing. Like you can see up close how it's kind of doing its thing, right? And we don't want to even hand dry it with a hair dryer or anything, a heat tool. Just let that rest and bleed out and let it do its thing. That's what loose watercolor is all about. You have wet paper, you have wet paint, and just let it kind of flow, right? Let me drink some more tea. I gotta drink some more tea. It is very good. Very, very good. All right, so now let's revisit these petals because they do seem a little bit sad not having a ton of petals. But I want to show you something. I'm going to use my yellow ochre, lots of water, mixing it into what I already kind of mixed. And I don't have a big space for mixing right now. I'm just using this little spot because this is a small painting. So it doesn't need this whole thing. If you're doing an 11 by 13, you're going to fill up this whole thing with your yellows. That's why I like to paint small, because you don't need to do a lot of paint in order to do this. So now there's some spots that I want to go in between. So I'm going to touch right here and kind of go like that in between. You can leave some white space if you want, because this is a more muted yellow. It's going to be more subtle, but it's going to be basically the petals behind. And you can rotate, you can do, But see how I'm leaving some of that white? And that was really puddly. Sometimes you have a lot of paint on your brush and it just likes to puddle. So I've just added that on. Now I'm going to turn it back right side up to myself and look at it. Okay, so now you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, what does it need? And if you want to go back to your picture on your phone, which is what I'm using, and I've noticed there's some green in this one, so I am definitely changing it up from what my reference photo is. But again, we're painting it. This is hyper realistic photo. This is a loose interpretation. So I see this is going quite well. I will probably add some darker orange colors again. So if you see what I'm doing over here, I'm just picking up some of these dark oranges and mixing it into that same yellow we had. Maybe I'll take a little bit of scarlet red or whatever this bright red is and do that. And see what we can do. Let's see what happens. Let's see. This is like the greatest thing to do is experimentation, right? And so I am experimenting. And you can do one side, you can do both sides. You can move your paintbrush around. I'm liking how this looks. That looks really bright and beautiful, and it's definitely not as yellow as my reference photo, but that's okay. We're going to revisit the center now. So we're going to look at what I'm mixing. I am going back to this kind of brownish color up here. Burnt sienna. Burnt sienna. And if you really want to mix things up a little bit, you can add a little bit of that orange into it, right? And that makes it kind of like a more orangey brown. So now we're just going to go back in and we're just going to go around the edge because this is where I noticed it needs some darker colors, right? So this is when you don't want your circle to be too uniform. And you can start kind of pushing that out and making it less of a circle, kind of where you think it would push out. You can look at your reference photo and that should be able to help you make a decision, right? And then you can even go around the center again because that's kind of dry now. If yours is still really wet, it might be kind of difficult. See how I'm letting it bleed into those petals. And if you want, you can take some Payne's Gray just straight on your brush and maybe on one side touch a little bit. Maybe a little bit down here. Just here and there. And just let it bleed out. Let it do its thing. See how it's just kind of spreading and doing its thing? I kind of like that. I like this center is still kind of light. I like how that looks. I may rinse off and go back into my yellows, maybe this cadmium bright yellow, and see what happens. What happens if I put that over the top? Will it do anything crazy? I might not like that. I don't know, it's a little greenish yellow, to be honest. And it's bleeding into there, which is fine. But I might do a couple spots just here and there, like the sun is shining through it. And sometimes we do this and we're like, oh, I don't know if I like that color, to be honest. And you can always stop and just lift it off if you didn't like it. But I kind of like it. It's not always my style to do brights, but that's okay. I'm gonna let the yellow kind of bleed in there and see what happens when it dries. So in my opinion, this is done. Okay, I'm gonna let it be sitting off to the side. And what we can do now is a bookmark. Let's do a bookmark next, okay? So, same concept with this guy. We're gonna do the centers with like a little bit of water. And since these flowers might be a little bit smaller, I'm only doing a half one there. Just adding a little bit of water, dropping in that brown that we still have mixed over here. And this is how fast I work, right, Janice? Don't we work pretty fast. So you can just go in and drop some browns. You can even add that Payne's Gray if you're ready to do some. Just to get it making some things happen, right? And rinse your brush, rinse. Now we're gonna start with that yellow that's real pale. Ochre. It's like already it's mixed. So we're using this size 8 and we're gonna show an up close picture of this, and I'm gonna use my other reference photo for my just to see different angles. So if I like this angle, I might go like this and just kind of flick them out just like that. Not everywhere, but just here and there. This one might go, and I'm not even mixing this with water. This is like very loose. See how loose I'm doing this? Just go around in a circle, get some more water because you're not really painting without water, okay? Gotta have water. And right now I'm just using that same color. This is our first layer that I've done, okay? So now it's super loose. Heck, just sprinkle some splatters in there if you want. Then you can rinse your brush and go back over to your palette and see what next color do I want to try. Maybe this like really pale orange yellow orange. We could do that and just drop it in because all of this is still super wet, or it should be anyways. Come on, let's do something here. It's not really changing. So sometimes we try something and it's not doing anything. It's not changing what we want. So maybe we need to switch it up, rinse, dry, and we can get some of this darker reds, orange red, red orange, orange red, whatever color it is. And sometimes just touching it here and there. I need more water. Y'all, sometimes we need more water. So I might add just on this guy. Then we add too much water. Look what happens. It doesn't do anything. But we can go like that. Look at how that's looking really pretty. Down here we can add some of that darker orange just to one side maybe of those petals. Maybe a little bit here. We really don't know how this is gonna look. Do you guys hear that plane? Janice is saying, yep, because you are a fast painter, that's for sure. I love it though. It's like you're in the zone. You're just going for it. All right, so I'm really liking how this is looking so far, okay? So do I want to keep fiddling with the petals or leave it kind of like this? I think I want to leave it like this for now. This is why I'm doing multiples of something. Like if you're planning to do your own invitations for a party and you want to make handmade invitations, you could start doing this for them. Or you can make bookmarks for gifts for people for Christmas or whatever. It doesn't have to be sunflowers, right? So I'm going to do the same thing that we did before. We're just going to fill all of these little circles in. I didn't wet them first. I just made sure I used a really wet brush. And that kind of gave me a wash of brown. And then I'm going to use some of my Payne's Gray in the centers. And see how fast that was. Now we're going to use that orange color. And if they overlap, it's okay. Don't worry about it too much because we want white space all the way around. And you can move your brush, you can move your paper, whatever you're comfortable with. But I was looking online, you guys, to see how do other people teach sunflowers, right? There's so many artists out there, very talented. And you know what was popping up on my feed? It was all from like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 8 years ago. I'm like, where's the new ones? Surely there are people that are doing new watercolors of sunflowers, right? Surely there are. So, this is a sign to you if you are a pretty established artist and you want to make videos to help encourage others to learn how to make sunflowers. Just go start making videos. Do not be afraid to start making a video. I am living proof that you don't have to be makeup done, dressed to the nines, studio production equipment. I have my iPhone, I have OBS, and that is a free software to go live stream, you know? But you don't even need to live stream. You could do this on a recording and post it. You can get on TikTok and post it. That's what Debbie and Janice and I and Jerry and April and Jenny, and there's some others, like some of them don't post, but some of them do. A lot of them do. Janice and Jerry post a whole bunch. Debbie, you've been posting a whole bunch. I love all your art that you've been sharing. And April, of course, every day April has something. She's very good at posting every day. I have a challenge and I don't even post every day. That's how bad it is. I am trying to figure out, what do I want to do now? Let's mix up a little bit more of that brown and add a little Payne's Gray into it. If it's too gray, add a little bit more brown. So you kind of go back and forth when you're mixing colors, like to decide what you want. Do you want it to be more brown, more black, more gray, more blue, more red? What do you want? So it's personal taste, right? So now I'm going to go around the outside of that. And I noticed right away it's bleeding into the petals. It's fine if it does because that makes it really kind of loose and watercolory. I don't think we want it to look like something created by a computer. We want to have some human touch in this. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, Bern? So I just did those little circles. It seems like the more I am doing this video, the more I'm getting really loose, to be honest. To be honest with you. Sometimes I just put that Payne's Gray right in there and see what it does. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Now I'm rinsing off all that gray and brown. I'm dipping in my water and I'm gonna get some more color, yellow ochre. Let's do some more yellow ochre. Like that. That's looking really pretty. And see if it's overlapping, that's okay too, because you want it to be kind of loose like that. Leave these little white spots. You don't have to paint every inch of your paper. I want to get some of this in here. Now, some of you might be like, well, what about the leaves? How come you don't paint the leaves? You know what? We could put a couple leaves in this. That might be kind of pretty. So what would we do? We just get a little bit of this green. I like to mix a little bit of the brown into that green just so it's not so vibrantly green. But look at how you can just add some greenery in here. And it doesn't have to be really thought out and meticulous. That's why I love loose watercolors, y'all. I like it because it's definitely not something I have to think too hard about. So there's a little bit of green in there. I feel like this is a very peachy color. Let's try and keep it that peachy color, but a little darker, right? There we go. Down here, I might want to add a little bit more of this darker reds. Just for fun. But I'm at a really precarious point. I could keep going, but I might overwork it, right? So we're going to wait. I'm going to put you off to the side, and we're going to bring back that other one that we started, right? Whichever way it was. And we're going to redo some of that, but let's put some green leaves in there right now since we got some green right here. So let's show you real close what I'm doing with this green, right? I'm just making it almost like they are their own little petals coming out. And it's kind of mixing. You can add a little more green in there and that will help it to not be so mixed in there, right? Maybe do some green in here. Maybe do some green over here. And see how that looks? That looks kind of pretty. And it's so subtle. It's just here and there. It's not the whole thing. Let me see if I can do... I don't know if you can see the whole thing because I did zoom in close. Let me see if I can change. Hold on, bear with me just so I can get the whole thing kind of in there, maybe. That should work. And then you can still kind of see my palette, what I'm doing here. So I'm going to mix in that brown with a little Payne's gray, just like we've been doing. And now we're just going around in the circle, but there's no water. Let me mix some water in there. And so I'm going around on these edges. I think for me, it's just easier to make the centers dark and those edges kind of dark. And you can keep changing like how much of the dark center is in there. You can keep adding Payne's gray in there. That's a flower there too, but I keep forgetting about it. Maybe a little burnt sienna. Oops, got to dig in there and just get really thick on your brush. Sometimes we don't get enough paint and it's just, we don't have anything happen. But if you put some paint on your brush, a lot of paint on your brush, you can get some really cool effects. So I'm liking how that looks. That looks very unique. But I'm going to splatter. This one almost looks like an eyeball staring at me, so I'll probably have to fix that a little bit. But I'm rinsing off everything, and I'm going to just get some yellow, orange, and splatter just right over the top. Sometimes that mixes in with what's already on there, and you're like, ooh, I like how that looks. If you're not good at splattering, let me show you guys something. I don't know if I have one of, let's see. So the key to splattering is to have lots of water and color on your brush. So I'm getting this pretty saturated with water and pigment. And I like to tap with my finger pretty hard. Some people like to use two brushes and you tap down on one. Some people, and I'm not good at this technique, but they take their brush and they go like this. But then you're getting paint and you need two hands. This is the way my mom used to remove ashes from her cigarette, was by tapping it like this. So that is a way, okay? It is a way to do it. Like, let's put some more. This one wasn't even part of the tutorial, but I'm showing you. I'm showing you stuff. So put that over there. But this is all splattery. I love it, but we're gonna let it sit. It's gotta sit for a while. Sometimes we try and do something with something wet and it's not gonna work. So that's why we have all these other little minis, right? Debbie says, thank you. Debbie saying, I am beginning to enjoy TikTok for art. Love following y'all. Aw, I'm so glad. And Janice says, I'm so fast, I'm finished. See? That's right. Sometimes we finish before the instructor. Anyways, we're gonna try painting the same thing. This time, I'm going to paint these circles like Van Gogh. Let's do them yellowy. More yellowy than brown. That's actually supposed to be green. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is either. I'm just looking at a reference photo from earlier. Gonna mix up some orange and dab it in the center. Center is kind of, well, that's supposed to be green. Oops. Sorry, you're supposed to be green. Let's go back. Make you green so I know you're green. There we go. So, this is teeny, teeny, tiny flowers, which is going to make me cray cray. So, I already have like this brownish green that's in my palette. I might just add randomly little leaves here and there just to not be trying to do this too perfectly, right? And it's just really loose. I can lift, 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 and then it'll be still green behind there, but I lifted. All right, next we're going to just add some. This is when you need your little brush, because if you're painting tiny flowers, you need little tiny, you need this for your little tiny flowers. And everything is still really wet right here. I don't know if I need to let it dry or make it dry, but it's going to be doing these little wispy things. That didn't look that great, but that's okay. They kind of blend together. There's going to be some up here. And there's going to be some looking out that way. And you notice that my background on all of these is white. Now you can go ahead and do a background that would be kind of like a blue for sky or whatever you want. Frankly, I like how this is looking. And I'm not trying to be perfectionist in this. Look at it. It's like ugly stage right now. Debbie's laughing. Janice said, I am multitasking this with my big painting. Oh, I love your big painting. Can't wait to see that finished. Debbie says, oh, I love the tiny flowers. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you like them. Little tiny flowers are fun. And you can even be more loose with it, right? You don't have to be as persnickety. So I'm going to add this weird brownish color in here. Brownish green color. I think we'll make it start to have a center for some of these. This one, I don't know, just here and there, right? Just here and there. And you can even add some of the splatters. That might be kind of fun. I'm gonna add, we have been doing some orange in these, maybe some yellow ochre straight away. Might be fun. I don't know, they're just kind of the same color. I wanna have a little darker orange. I'm sorry, I gotta do it. Gotta do it. But we can put it in the centers. And remember, dabbing to just make these little centers is okay. You don't have to make brush strokes for everything. And this one we may do some pen work at the end. You know how I do that. Because I'll be like, I didn't like it. Don't like it, so I have to put pen work. I may let you rest for a second, little guy. Because I'll bring you back over here to this one. And I may want to add some browns. Maybe a little Payne's Gray. And see how it's I'm wiggling it around a little bit. Just a little bit. And that's gonna look, I don't know, it may look good, it may not. Hopefully it will. Hopefully it'll look good. But I wanted it to bring back a little bit more definition for these centers. Because I kind of did go really, really loose with these, didn't I? So I'm just adding a little bit here and there. But this one is kind of like at an angle. So there we go. I'm gonna rinse my brush. And maybe now I will add some of this kind of a yellow orange color. Maybe. Maybe. Let's see what happens. Kind of wanting some more definition on these guys. Like some of them that are like in the foreground now. So like a lot of the ones in the background can kind of fade away and look like they're behind. So that looks good. Let me see this one. Let's see what we can do for this one. May go just right over some of the stuff. And it just adds some definition. Try not to be too uniform. You want them to kind of be spaced weird because they don't all grow the same, right? So leave a little space there. This one, I think it's fine just like it is. Maybe just leave it like that. Maybe just get a little bit of water on your brush and wiggle it on parts that we want to just bleed that. Just make it look a little bit less detailed if we want. And then that can look kind of nice. I'm liking that. I think I'm gonna leave it. I feel like it's good. This one I might revisit a little bit. This one was kind of like starting to get pale on me. And I just made a big streak through this thing. But I will fix it, maybe. I don't know how that happened. Sometimes you get a mess up and then like it makes it better. I don't know how that happens. Do you guys ever see that happening? It does that sometimes to me. So we are almost done with that one, but let me see. I'm going to add a little bit more in here. Sometimes adding some blue. Let's see what happens if we add a little bit of blue to our vase. Leave some white. Don't want to do too much, but we do some shadow. just like that. And then this one I might be like, we need some shadow in here, but it's still really wet. It's going to probably just keep bleeding and not be pretty. We'll see. We'll see what it does. Sometimes that blue for a shadow side is great. Sometimes. Sometimes we're like, what happened? And then I do kind of want to add some of this Payne's grade just in the centers of where I think these would be. Because you have to have some contrast. This is not very contrasty. So that's why I'm doing that. I think it's going to need a little bit more help. This one's going to need a little more help. But it's still really wet. I don't want to touch it too much. Let's see what happens if I add some of this bright yellow. What happens? What happens? We don't know until we try. But that might look kind of nice. And I'm just putting just random here and there. And then my Payne's gray might need just a couple little things around for that base. And then that makes it look kind of clear. And you can add the stems after it dries. You gotta put it down. I'm overworking it. Overworking. Let's see what happens if I go back over this. Because I kind of like the brighter orange, probably. And see, with the smaller brush, you have to put 2 strokes of that brush to make it. And down here, I might go a little bit lighter. And you can go over the top of these suckers. You don't have to. Some people say you can't keep going over it. You get muddy. But I don't know. I kind of like how it looks. I'm liking that too. So, I've got so many things now on my desk. Let's see if I can zoom out. Zoom way out for y'all. If I can. Can I? Let's see what happens. If I zoom out. Move this. Move this. Move that. I've got this. I've got this. I've got this. So I did these 4. Right? So 2 bookmarks, and then these 2. I may go ahead and this one is pretty much dry. I could, in theory, put some dimensionals, which is a Stampin' Up! Adhesive that's got some thickness to it. It's you can peel these off, stick them in the corners and one in the middle of these little dimensional thingies, and pop that on some cardstock. You could use black trimmed out and be like a frame around this with black cardstock, and then pop it onto like a yellow or a orange or even just white, and then that would be your base, and then you would have it be a sweet little card you can send to someone. You could put happy birthday, you could put happy anniversary, you could put whatever you want on the card. I'm actually liking how this is looking now that I've let it dry a little bit, and it's super messy, but I like it. I kind of like it. And then these are very messy and loose as well. I feel like I could add some splatters in this one. Should we do some green splatters? Let me do some green. Just here and there. And if you just rinse your brush and add some water, just splatter water on top of your splatters, that helps them kind of flow a little bit, and they just kind of look less messy. I mean, they're still kind of messy. See all the little splatters on there of the green. Yeah, I like those. I like it. I like it. So now everything is wet still except for this one. And might need to just let it dry on its own. And I can go back and look at it in an hour and see if I like it still or if I need it to go. Debbie said, "Oh, I love the cardstock idea to make a card." Yeah, that's like how easy it is. I may even have a piece of cardstock somewhere near me. Let me see if I have one. No, I don't see any. I mean, I have a whole spectrum of cardstock, but do you think I can find something? No, no, I cannot. Actually, I found a card, but this is just like a plain little cardstock that I had sitting around, so I could put that right in the center. Like I said, I think some black cardstock would look perfect behind that to kind of frame it. Maybe I'll do a card thing sometime. Video. I used to be a card maker like since 2007. Since 2007, y'all, I've been a demonstrator for Stampin' Up. And I am still a demonstrator. If you want to order from me, just go to my website, stampinturtles.com. There's a link to my Stampin' Up. And we just had tax-free days in Alabama, but and I forgot to actually order. I had an order in my cart and then I didn't order. And I was going to get glue and I was going to get some other like school supplies, even though I'm not using them for school. They were going to be free tax, I mean, they weren't free, they were no tax added, so that would have been great, but totally forgot. Anyways, we're going to do our little spin. It's almost like spinning the wheel of scripture, right? And we want to see, what does the Lord want us to hear today? I guess this is good because I have been feeling weary and heavy laden because of my head cold and not feeling great, feeling weak, feeling run down. And I don't normally feel that way. So it has been, I've been taking a hit, y'all. Just that I normally go, do everything. And my body was like, you aren't feeling good. You need to rest. And I'm like, I don't want to rest. I want to go do everything I said I'm going to do. And then it said, no. My body was like, I can't even walk to the kitchen without getting worn out, which is so not like me. So this is Matthew 11:28, and it says, "Come to me when you are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." So yesterday when I canceled my watercolor class, I canceled going to church to volunteer with the kiddos, which I totally miss them when I don't see them. But I knew I had to. I knew I had to rest and let my body heal. So that's what I did yesterday. I stayed in my PJs all day. I stay in my PJs all day today. I've been drinking my tea. And look at this mug. Isn't it the cutest mug? It's from World Market. They have different ones. This one is, I think it's lavender. So it's just, they're perfect for coffee, for tea. If you just want to drink water, drink water. But I was staying hydrated for sure yesterday, trying to get all the toxins out of me. I don't want to be sick anymore. But let's look at this one more time just so you guys can see what we did today. I'm super impressed. I hope you guys had fun following along with me, and that you'll post your pictures to our Painty Ladies group, or you'll put it on your social media and encourage your friends to pursue art, because art is so fun and relaxes me and I just enjoy it. And it didn't have to be super detailed. It didn't have to be meticulously painted. Like, look, just had to be fun and creative. And even this one that's kind of a little strange, from a distance, it looks great. So this one, I could even frame it and, you know, put a wide mat around it and put it in a large frame. And then people would have to come up close to look at it, but maybe from across the room it would look really good. Who knows? Put it on a card like I was doing, or just chop it up if you don't like it and put it in some mixed media pieces. But yeah, I kind of liked what we did today, and I hope he did too. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Mwah.